Ian, and break it down for us. I think maybe if there's hope, it's that this young team has maybe many more seasons ahead like this.
Yeah, Drake Maye would have been the youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl if this game went a very different direction. He's still only 23 years old with a Super Bowl game under his belt in just his second season. He is the franchise quarterback. He was an MVP candidate. He is the future of this franchise. And if nothing else, he can learn from this, get healthy in the offseason, and move forward. Let's look at how he fared in this game here today. Again, he threw for 2 touchdowns and passed for 295 yards, completing 27 passes out of 43 attempts. He did have 2 turnovers in this game. Not 1 turnover, as you see on your screen, 2 interceptions and a key fumble that also went the other way. So 3 total turnovers for Drake Maye in this game. 23 years old. And what we saw from Drake Maye in this game a lot of the time was he was missing his receivers short. He wasn't able to fully step into his throws and complete them down the field with the kind of strength and with the kind of fire that we are used to him having in this season. He was one of the best explosive players in the National Football League this season when it came to throwing the ball deep down the field. So often in this game, we saw Drake Maye miss his receivers short. His receivers were reaching down to try and catch the football, partially because he was under so much pressure. 3 turnovers in this game. He was sacked 6 times. That is not a recipe for success if you want to help out your young quarterback in a huge stage against the best scoring defense in the NFL. Will Campbell and Jared Wilson, we don't talk about offensive line much on television because it's kind of nitty-gritty, so to speak, but the guys trying to block and keep Drake Maye upright really, really struggled in this game. Again, Maye was sacked 6 times, and I cannot emphasize that statistic enough. Again, this goes to show that this is a very, very young team. We're talking about rookies on the left side of the offensive line and a second-year quarterback. However, when you get to a Super Bowl, as Mike Vrabel has always mentioned, you never know how long it's going to be until you get another opportunity like this. It was interesting to see that Will Campbell was kind of left out there on his own. There wasn't a lot of help for him from tight ends or adding extra offensive linemen, adding more big bodies into the line of scrimmage to help the young left side of the offensive line. And that's what led to Drake Maye getting sacked 6 times in this game, especially when you fall behind. You know, Seattle was content just kicking field goals. Again, a record 5 field goals kicked by Jason Myers, the Seattle Seahawks kicker, in this game. And because they were content just taking the points, it really seemed like they were not concerned about Drake Maye and the Patriots' ability to put up points and match those field goals with touchdowns. And that's the kind of game that this turned into. Drake Maye was not able to put any points up on the board until the fourth quarter. They were shut out into the fourth quarter. So interesting to see that, you know, some of the decisions that were made in this game by the New England Patriots, their coaching staff, their offensive coaching staff. I mean, listen, Mike Vrabel is the coach of the year for a reason. He took this team from 4 wins to 17 in one single season. Far be it from me to criticize too much. However, you have to look at some of the decisions that are made in these big games and see if they could turn out the other way. And I think helping out Will Campbell on the left side of the offensive line and Jared Wilson with more tight end help, more jumbo packages, maybe some quick game, not moving the ball, trying to push the ball down the field too much offensively really hurt the Patriots in this one. Defensively, they played really well. Again, they forced Seattle to kick field goals into the fourth quarter of this game. Sam Darnold really didn't kill you. If you're a New England Patriots fan, what hurt them was Kenneth Walker, the running back. Number 9, you see him on your screen right there. We haven't heard who's won the Super Bowl MVP, but it is very likely going to be Kenneth Walker. He had 135 yards in this game on 27 carries. He was over 100 yards from scrimmage in the first half. The Seattle running back, again, likely the Super Bowl MVP. Seattle was content handing him the ball and letting him go to work against the Patriots defense. And at first, it wasn't really catastrophic for the Patriots defense. Christian Gonzalez had a great game. They really limited Jackson Smith-Njigba on the offensive side of the ball. He only had 4 catches for 27 yards. That's the NFL's Offensive Player of the Year, the Seattle wide receiver Jackson Smith-Njigba. They were able to limit Seattle's big play offense. However, Seattle, as Mike Vrabel said all week, known for handing the ball off, they led the NFL in rushing attempts, and that really showed in this football game. Kenneth Walker carried the ball 27 times for 135 yards, the longest being a 30-yard breakout run. Kenneth Walker, likely the Super Bowl MVP, but again, we do not have confirmation on that. Actually, the word has just come in that Kenneth Walker is the Super Bowl MVP. He is the Seattle Seahawks running back who ran for 135 yards. Also, in the passing game, he had 2 catches for 26 yards on 4 catches. So Kenneth Walker is the first running back to win Super Bowl MVP since the year 1998. He is your Super Bowl MVP in Super Bowl 60. But again, it's not to discourage what the Patriots defense did in this game. Usually the Super Bowl MVP goes to an offensive player just by default. It's the nature of the league. This person put up the most stats in the Super Bowl, so he ends up as Super Bowl MVP. And the Patriots defense, for what it's worth, kept them in this game. It was the Patriots offense's inability to get anything going against Seattle's top scoring defense in the Super Bowl that really cost them this football game. Steve, Marissa?
Ian, let's go back to Drake May. We were talking about the youth aspect of this all. Do you think we're going to hear there's going to be reporting coming out of the next couple of days and weeks that maybe this shoulder issue is worse than they were letting on? Especially considering, we basically have seen the tale of 2 Drake Mays, and that's the regular season Drake May and the postseason Drake May. It's like a completely different player. He popped up on the injury list after that last postseason game before the Super Bowl with Denver. And it seems like he's just not throwing and not completing like the way he was in the regular season. What do you think?
No, it's a very fair point. And going into this game, we were thinking, finally the Patriots have a good weather playoff game that Drake May can feel a little bit more comfortable in. They were playing in 60 degrees in Northern California. There was, partly cloudy. Previously, we remember the second half of the AFC Championship game. Drake May was playing in a blizzard. He was caught on a microphone talking to Josh McDaniels, the Patriots offensive coordinator, who won the NFL's Assistant Coach of the Year. May telling Josh McDaniels on an open mic, "Man, this is really hard." Josh McDaniels said to him in that moment, "Yeah, this is what it's like in the NFL, so to speak. It's going to be hard, but the next 6 minutes, if you can pull it off, will be the most rewarding of your life." Drake May showing out in the open what he was kind of going through in that moment, and I think that carried over here. What was hard about the AFC Championship game was it was a slog. They were playing in the snow. There was really no footing. You couldn't throw the ball at all. What ended up happening in this game is they grinded it out and punched a ticket to the Super Bowl. Fast forward here to Super Bowl 60 on Super Bowl Sunday here out in Santa Clara, California. They weren't going to be playing in a blizzard. It was going to be nice. Drake May's a warm weather guy. He's from the South and he's from North Carolina. He played college football in North Carolina. He wasn't used to playing in the cold and the snow and the wind until he came up here to New England. And I'm sure if you gave him a lie detector test, he would say, "Yeah, it's not my favorite thing to play in." That clearly showed. So we thought we would see more of the usual Drake May, the regular season Drake May, especially considering, again, by the end of this week, he was not on the injury report. So Drake May, once again, unable to come through in his first Super Bowl, but again, he's just in his second year. Steve, Marissa.